The woman in the field. The irrigation pump was not supposed to glow. Caleb Turner knew this with absolute certainty. He had repaired that old metal machine 3 times in the past month. It squeaked. It rattled. It leaked. But it did not glow bright blue at 5 in the morning like it was trying to summon aliens. And yet, that was exactly what it was doing. Caleb stood on his porch, holding his coffee, staring at the strange light rising from the far edge of his cornfield. The sky was still dark. The sun had not yet climbed over the horizon. The world was quiet. Too quiet. Then the light pulsed again. He squinted. Something lay near the pump. At first, he thought it was a deer. Then he thought it was a scarecrow he forgot he owned. Then he saw the shape move. Caleb lowered his coffee slowly. Well, he muttered to himself, this is how horror movies begin. Still, he walked toward it. Each step through the damp soil felt heavier than the last. The air smelled strange. Like metal and rain and something burned. When he reached the pump, he stopped. It wasn't a deer. It wasn't a scarecrow. It was a woman. But not exactly a human woman. She lay on her side, half in the dirt, half in crushed corn stalks. Her skin shimmered faint silver blue in the early light. Not pale from cold. Not blue from bruising. It was natural. Soft. Almost glowing. Her hair spilled around her like liquid starlight. Not blonde. Not white. Something in between. Her clothing looked like fabric woven with light. Torn. Burned at the edges. Small sparks flickered along the seams as if the cloth was still alive. One of her boots was missing. Her shoulder was bleeding. Caleb froze. He stared at the sky. No smoke trail. No explosion. No aircraft. Just stars. He looked back at her. She was breathing. Shallow. Unsteady. Her ears. He blinked. Her ears were long. Smooth. Tapered to elegant points. Not costume long. Not fake. Real. His brain tried to explain this in a safe way. Maybe she was part of a movie production. Maybe he was dreaming. Maybe he had finally lost his mind after years of living alone. Then she coughed. Blood touched her lips. That ended all debate. Caleb dropped to his knees beside her. Hey, stay with me. Her eyes fluttered open. They were not human. They were deep violet. And focused. Not confused. Not wild. Focused. She looked directly at him as if she had been searching for him. Her lips moved. A sound came out, but it was not English. It was soft. Musical. Broken. He didn't understand it. But he understood pain. Caleb pressed his hand against her shoulder wound to slow the bleeding. You're hurt. I'm going to help you. Okay. Just, don't die on me. That would be very inconvenient. Her eyes blinked once. Slowly. Then she lost consciousness. Caleb stared at the sky again. Of course, he whispered. Of course this happens on a Tuesday. He lifted her carefully. She was lighter than she looked. But carrying a glowing alien woman across uneven farmland was not something he had trained for. By the time he reached his house, he was breathing hard. He kicked open the door. His dog barked once, then went silent, staring at the woman as if sensing something powerful. Caleb laid her on his couch. He grabbed his medical kit. Years ago, he had worked as an emergency medic in the city. Now he farmed. Quiet life. Peaceful life. Apparently, peace was cancelled. He cleaned her wounds carefully. The blood was darker than human blood. Her skin was warm. Too warm. He checked her pulse. Fast. But strong. Okay, he muttered. You're not dying. That's good. Let's keep it that way. As he stitched the cut along her side, her eyes opened again. This time, they were clearer. Watching him. Studying him. Not afraid. Curious. He swallowed. I promise I'm helping. She blinked slowly. Her hand moved weakly and touched his wrist. Her fingers were slender. Cool. Then she whispered something again. The sound vibrated slightly in the air. A faint glow passed under her skin like moving light. Caleb leaned closer. I don't understand you, he said softly. Her gaze held his. Then she whispered one word. Safe. His heart skipped. Safe. She had spoken English. Then she collapsed back into sleep. Morning light. When she woke again, it was daylight. Caleb was sitting in a chair across the room, watching her. Not in a creepy way. More in a please don't explode way. Her eyes opened slowly. She looked around. Took in the ceiling. The walls. The old wooden furniture. Her gaze finally landed on him. They stared at each other. You're still here, Caleb said carefully. She pushed herself up slightly. Winced. But she did not panic. Instead, she studied him like a scientist observing something rare. You helped me, she said slowly. Her accent was soft, but clearer now. He almost laughed in relief. You speak English. She nodded once. Translator implant repairing. Oh, good. I was worried I'd have to learn space language. Her head tilted slightly. That small movement felt incredibly expressive. What world is this? She asked. Earth, he answered. You landed in my cornfield. She absorbed that information calmly. Then she closed her eyes briefly. I survived. That was the goal, he said. Silence filled the room. Then she looked at him again. What is your name? Caleb Turner. She repeated it carefully. Caleb. Then she straightened slightly despite the pain. I am Erin Solori. The name sounded powerful. Ancient. Important. He nodded politely. Well, Erin Solori, you crashed into my irrigation system. So technically you owe me about $300 in repairs. Her lips twitched faintly. Almost a smile. Then her expression changed. Serious. They will come. Caleb blinked. Who? She looked toward the window. They believe I am dead. When they discover I live, they will search. Okay, he said slowly. And they are? Her eyes met his again. Those who tried to kill me. That was not comforting. The throne of glass and fire. The ship did not land gently. It descended through layers of golden clouds and glowing air currents before breaking into open sky above a world that did not look real. Caleb pressed his hand against the viewing glass. Below them stretched a planet of silver oceans and shining cities. Towers curved upward like frozen waves. Bridges of light connected floating platforms. Rivers glowed faint blue, winding through landscapes that shimmered like living crystal. He swallowed. This is home. Erin stood beside him. Yes. This is Solara Prime. Her voice had changed again. Not softer. Not colder. Stronger. The Empress had returned. The ship entered a massive opening in the capital city. Layers of energy shields parted for them. Hundreds of smaller ships hovered nearby like silent guardians. Caleb felt small. Very small. The ramp lowered. Heat rolled in. Bright white light flooded the chamber. And then he heard it. Thousands of voices. The sound was not shouting. It was something deeper. A hum. A vibration. Hope. Erin stepped forward first. The moment her foot touched the platform, the entire plaza below dropped to one knee. Thousands of armored warriors. Civilians in flowing silver robes. Council members in ceremonial armor. Every single one bowed. Caleb froze at the top of the ramp. He leaned slightly toward her. I feel like I should have rehearsed something. Stand, she whispered softly. That is enough. So he stood. They walked down together. Whispers spread through the crowd like wind. The Empress lives. She survived. Who is the human? That last one traveled fastest. Erin raised her hand. The entire plaza fell silent instantly. My people, she began. Her voice carried across the massive space without effort. You were told I had fallen. Murmurs. You were told the Solori line had ended. More whispers. But I stand before you alive. A wave of emotion rippled outward. Relief. Shock. Some wept openly. Caleb felt goosebumps. I did not survive because of our fleets, Erin continued. Not because of our shields. Not because of the council. Her gaze shifted slightly toward him. I survived because a human chose to help a stranger. All eyes turned to Caleb. He tried to stand taller. His jacket was slightly crooked. He adjusted it awkwardly. I owe my life to Caleb Turner of Earth. Silence followed. Heavy silence. Then something unexpected happened. The entire plaza bowed again. To him. Caleb blinked rapidly. This is uncomfortable, he whispered. Erin's lips twitched faintly. It is respect. The council members stepped forward. Their armor was different. More detailed. More ceremonial. An older figure with silver markings across his face spoke. Your Radiance, we mourned you. We activated emergency succession. I am aware, Erin said calmly. The older figure's eyes shifted toward Caleb. And this human? Erin's voice sharpened. He stands under my protection. A quiet tension moved through the air. Caleb felt it. Politics. Danger. Doubt. The older counselor nodded slowly. We welcome him, temporarily. Temporarily. That word did not feel safe. Inside the palace. The palace interior was overwhelming. Walls of translucent crystal stretched high above them. Light flowed through the structure like living veins. Floating platforms moved silently between levels. Caleb tried not to stare too obviously. He failed. Erin walked beside him, regal once more. Soldiers lined the halls. Every step echoed. When they entered the central throne chamber, the temperature seemed to drop. The room was circular. At the center stood a raised platform. Upon it, the throne. It was not gold. Not decorated with jewels. It was made of living crystal, pulsing faintly with energy. Caleb felt something strange near it. A vibration. Like the throne itself was alive. Erin stopped before it. She did not sit. Instead, she turned to face the council. Begin the inquiry. The older counselor stepped forward. Your Radiance, the attack on your vessel was internal sabotage. Security data confirms it. A murmur spread. We believe the traitor remains within our ranks. The air tightened. Caleb glanced around carefully. Faces were calm. Too calm. Erin's eyes hardened. Names. The counselor hesitated. We are still analyzing. Analyze faster, she said coldly. Caleb noticed something important. The council members avoided looking at her directly. Not out of respect. Out of fear. Then another council member spoke. A younger woman with sharp features. There is concern, Your Radiance. Erin did not blink. Speak. The Empire has grown, unstable during your absence. Some systems declared independence. Caleb frowned slightly. Rebellion. Civil war. Erin remained steady. Then we restore unity. The younger counselor's gaze flicked toward Caleb. Some believe the presence of an alien outsider at your side sends weakness. There it was. The problem. Erin's eyes flashed. Compassion is not weakness. Silence. Caleb felt dozens of eyes on him. He took a breath. He stepped forward. Probably a mistake. But he stepped forward anyway. I'm not here to rule anything, he said plainly. I'm a medic. I fix people. I fix problems. That's it. The chamber listened. I don't understand your politics. I don't understand your technology. But I understand loyalty. He looked at Erin briefly. She didn't hide. She didn't run. She came back to protect you. That hit the room. Silence again. Then something shifted. Not full acceptance. But doubt cracked slightly. Erin stepped beside him. He speaks truth. The council exchanged looks. The older counselor finally bowed his head. The investigation continues. Meeting dismissed. But tension remained. The attempt. Night fell over Solara Prime. The city glowed beneath floating stars and orbiting defense satellites. Caleb stood on a balcony outside his assigned chamber. He leaned on the railing. This is insane, he muttered. You adapt quickly. He turned. Erin approached quietly. She had changed from ceremonial armor into simpler attire. Still regal. Still powerful. But more human. Do I? He asked. You stood before my council without fear. I was terrified. She tilted her head slightly. Yet you stood. He looked out over the city. They don't trust me. They do not trust easily, she replied. Silence lingered. Then, a sudden sharp sound. Like glass cracking. Erin's eyes widened. Down. She tackled Caleb just as a blast of energy tore across the balcony. The railing exploded. Crystal shattered. Alarms screamed through the palace. Caleb hit the floor hard. Are you okay? He gasped. Yes. Another blast struck the far wall. A shadow moved across the adjacent rooftop. A sniper. Erin rose instantly. Her hand lifted. Energy flared around her fingers like living light. She fired. A beam of brilliant silver shot across the gap. The rooftop exploded. The assassin vanished in smoke. Soldiers rushed onto the balcony. Weapons raised. Secure the perimeter. Caleb sat up slowly. His ears rang. That was not welcoming. Erin's jaw was tight. They move faster than I expected. They. The faction that wants me gone. Her gaze shifted to the distant skyline. They know I returned. Caleb stood carefully. They tried to kill you again. Yes. And they'll try again. Yes. The word was calm. Too calm. He stepped closer to her. You can't do this alone. I'm not alone. She looked at him directly. And for the first time since the plaza, the Empress mask slipped. Just slightly. I underestimated how deep the betrayal runs, she admitted quietly. A soldier approached urgently. Your radiance, the sniper's energy signature matches internal military design. That confirmed it. The enemy was inside. Caleb exhaled slowly. Okay, he said. She looked at him. What are you thinking? I'm thinking, he replied, if someone inside wants you dead, then we stop reacting. Her eyes sharpened. Explain. We bait them. Silence. The soldiers looked confused. Caleb continued. You announce a public appearance. Something big. Something impossible to ignore. Erin's expression grew thoughtful. They will attempt again. Exactly. The older commander stepped forward. That risks the Empress. Caleb nodded. She survived assassination once. Twice now. Let's end it. Erin studied him carefully. You suggest we draw them into the open? Yes. The commander hesitated. It is dangerous. Erin's voice hardened again. So is waiting. Silence. Decision time. Finally, she nodded. Prepare the Grand Assembly. The Grand Assembly. The next evening, the entire capital gathered in the central plaza. News spread quickly. The Empress would address the Empire live across all systems. Rebellion worlds. Border systems. Military sectors. Every screen would show her. Caleb stood beside her behind the massive stage. This is either brilliant, he whispered, or extremely stupid. She gave him a faint smile. Sometimes they are the same. The stage doors opened. Light flooded in. The crowd roared. Erin stepped forward. Caleb followed one pace behind. Cameras hovered around them. The entire galaxy watched. My people, she began again. Her voice steady. I returned not only to reclaim my throne, but to confront truth. The plaza was silent. There are those among us who seek power through fear. Caleb scanned the surrounding rooftops carefully. Soldiers everywhere. Snipers positioned. Energy shields active. Still. He felt something. Tension. A shift in the air. Erin continued. I do not rule through fear. I rule through unity. Suddenly, a sharp pulse flashed from the crowd. Not from above. From below. A disguised device hidden among civilians. Caleb saw it first. Left, he shouted. Erin reacted instantly. She spun. Energy surged from her hand. The device exploded mid-air before fully activating. Chaos erupted. Screams. Soldiers moved. But Caleb's eyes caught something else. A counselor. The younger one. The sharp-featured woman. She was not running. She was watching. Watching Erin. Watching the chaos. With satisfaction. Caleb grabbed Erin's arm. It's her. Erin followed his gaze. Their eyes met across the plaza. The counselor realized she was seen. Too late. Soldiers tackled her instantly. Energy cuffs locked around her wrists. The crowd gasped. Erin stepped forward slowly. You betrayed your oath. The counselor laughed softly. You are too soft to rule. I am strong enough to forgive, Erin said. But not foolish enough to ignore treason. She turned to the crowd. The threat is ended. Applause rose. Loud. Powerful. Relieved. The rebellion lost its leader in that moment. Aftermath. Hours later, the palace was quiet again. The traitor imprisoned. The factions exposed. Stability returning. Caleb sat in the garden overlooking the glowing city. Erin joined him. You saw what others missed, she said. You were watching rooftops, he replied. I was watching faces. She nodded. That is why I asked you to come. He leaned back slightly. So what now? Now, she said softly, we rebuild. The wind moved gently around them. The city lights shimmered below. You could go home, she added quietly. If you wished. He thought about Earth. The farm. The quiet mornings. Then he looked at her. The Empress who almost died in his arms. The woman who chose trust over fear. I think, he said slowly, I'll stay a little longer. Her ears lifted slightly. A small, genuine smile touched her face. Then stand with me. He nodded. For more than 8 seconds this time. She reached for his hand. And far above them, in the darkness of deep space, another fleet shifted course. Watching. Waiting. The true enemy had not yet revealed itself. But now. They were ready. The sky darkens. 3 days passed. Erin healed faster than any human could. The bruises faded. The deep wound along her ribs sealed into a thin silver line. She walked through his house slowly at first. Observing everything. The refrigerator fascinated her. The television confused her. The dog followed her everywhere. Caleb noticed something strange. She moved like royalty. Even in simple clothes he gave her. Even barefoot. Her posture was straight. Her voice carried weight. On the 4th morning, the sky changed. Caleb was outside feeding chickens when the sunlight dimmed. Not clouds. Something larger. He looked up. His breath stopped. A massive black shape hovered above the clouds. Silent. Impossible. His stomach dropped. The air vibrated. Erin stepped outside behind him. Her face became still. They found me. The large vessel descended slowly. Smaller crafts separated from it like falling stars. They landed in his fields with perfect precision. Soldiers stepped out. Tall. Armored in dark metal that shimmered with energy. Weapons in their hands. Caleb raised both arms instinctively. I would like to point out, he said loudly, that this is private property. No one laughed. The lead soldier stepped forward. His helmet retracted. His eyes were sharp and glowing faint blue. Life signature confirmed, he announced. The Sovereign lives. Caleb frowned. Sovereign. The soldiers suddenly dropped to one knee. All of them. Their fists struck their chests. Your radiance, they said in unison. Caleb turned slowly to Erin. She stood taller now. Different. Not the wounded woman from the field. Not the quiet guest in his kitchen. Something powerful filled her presence. Her voice, when she spoke, carried authority. Rise. They obeyed instantly. Caleb blinked several times. Sovereign, he whispered. Like, queen. She looked at him softly. Empress. He almost fainted. The lead soldier stepped forward. We believed you dead, Your Radiance. The Council declared succession protocols. Her jaw tightened slightly. There will be no succession. The soldier's gaze shifted toward Caleb. Human male detected in proximity to the Empress. Explain. Caleb opened his mouth. Nothing intelligent came out. Erin stepped forward protectively. He saved my life. Silence fell. Every soldier looked at Caleb again. This time differently. The lead soldier studied him. You aided her without knowledge of her identity. Caleb shrugged weakly. She was bleeding in my corn. A long pause. Then something unexpected happened. The lead soldier removed his helmet fully. He bowed his head to Caleb. You have preserved the light of our empire. Caleb stared at Erin. Empire. She nodded slowly. I am the last ruling empress of the Solari Dominion. His brain officially gave up. A choice. The soldiers prepared the transport ship. The massive craft above shifted position. Energy pulsed across its surface. Caleb stood beside Erin near the ramp. You're leaving, he said quietly. I must, she answered. Her voice was steady, but her eyes held something softer. They tried to kill you, he said. Yes. And now you're going back to them. I will not hide, she replied. If I disappear, civil war begins. Billions suffer. That hit him. Billions. Not thousands. Not millions. Billions. She looked at him carefully. You changed the future when you chose to help me. I just stitched a wound. You chose compassion over fear. The wind moved gently across the field. The soldiers waited. She took one step closer. Come with me. He blinked. What? I will need someone who sees me as more than a throne. His heart pounded. This is insane, he whispered. Yes, she agreed calmly. He looked at his house, his fields, his quiet life. Then he looked at her. The woman who fell from the sky. The empress who nearly died in his arms. You're asking a farmer to walk into galactic politics. I'm asking a good man to stand beside me. Silence. The ramp glowed brighter. The sky hummed with power. Finally, Caleb exhaled slowly. I don't even own a passport. Erin smiled fully for the first time. You will not need one. He shook his head in disbelief. Then he stepped forward. All right, he muttered. Let's go save your empire. The soldiers straightened instantly. Respect in their eyes now. The ramp closed behind them. The ship rose into the sky. Below, the farm became smaller. Caleb stared at Earth fading beneath them. 8 seconds, he whispered nervously. What? She asked. That's how long I can pretend to be brave. She stepped closer. Then I will carry the rest. The stars stretched. Space bent. The journey began. And somewhere in the darkness ahead, enemies waited.